Okay, today we have proving triangles are congruent. So yes, we are going back to our proofs. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Okay. Alright, so the first triangle congruence theorem that we have is side, side, side. So what that tells us is that when we're trying to prove two triangles congruent, the corresponding sides have to be equal. So see this marking here, it's got 1. That's going to correspond with this triangle over here with side 1. So the correspondence would be AB is congruent to DE. Okay, my second markings, which indicate my second sides that go together, so BC is congruent to EF. And then we have our third sides that are marked, and those correspond to one another. So AC is congruent to DF. So we have triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, and that's important because we have to name the corresponding parts. Our next one is side angle side, and if you'll remember, we have to have that included angle. So here's our included angle, it's in between. So here's my first side marked with the single mark. AB corresponds with DE, so those are congruent. And then we have angle A is congruent to angle D, that's our included angle. And then our second markings, AC is congruent to DF, so triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. We have angle side angle. Angle A is congruent to angle D. Those are corresponding, so those are the ones that are congruent. AB is congruent to DE, and that's our included side. And then we have angle B is congruent to angle E, and the second one is our included side. So the side has to be in between the two angles. We have angle, angle, side. So angle A corresponds to angle D. Angle B corresponds to angle E and are congruent. And then BC is congruent to EF. This is our non-included side. So the side cannot be between the two angles. And also it has to be the same side in both triangles. So you see how BC is opposite angle A? Well, the non-included side on triangle DEF, EF has to also be opposite the corresponding angle D. Okay, so they have to be in the same location. Alright, so now we're going to name that postulate. So when I'm looking at my triangles here, I see I have a side marked, an angle marked, and a side marked. And I have side, angle, side marked in my second triangle. So that tells me that they are congruent, and that they are congruent by, you guessed it, side, angle, side. Okay, in my second triangle, over here on the right here, I have an angle marked, a side marked, and an angle marked. And then I looked at the first marking, so that's angle, side, angle. So that tells me they are congruent by angle, side, angle. My third one, let's see, I have sides marked, I have angles marked, and I have sides marked. But I don't have them in side, 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 or side, angle, side. So this is really the side, side, angle, which is not a congruence property. So even though they're marked and it looks like we've got 3 corresponding sides marked congruently, it does not guarantee that they're congruent. So side, side, angle is not a congruence property. Okay, in our last set, I have an isosceles triangle, and I know it's isosceles because these markings are the same. And then the base is marked with 2, and I have another isosceles marked the same, and the base is 2, so this is congruent. This time all 3 sides are marked, so it's going to be side, side, side. Okay, more examples. Here I have angle 1 compared to angle 1, angle 2 to angle 2, angle 3 to angle 3. So these are marked angle, 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 but angle, angle, angle is not a congruence property, so it does not guarantee that they are congruent. The second triangle, I have angle, side, angle, and again I know it's isosceles because my angles are marked the same, which means my sides will be measured out the same. So I have angle, side, angle, and even though it's turned, I still have angle, side, angle. So these are congruent because angle, side, angle is one of our congruence theorems. In these triangles here, I have a side marked, and here's the corresponding side, angle, here's the corresponding angle, and side, here's the corresponding side. So I have side, angle, side here, side, angle, side here. That is one of my congruence theorems, side, angle, side. Okay, my last triangle, let's see, I do have a side marked, I have a second side marked, and I have an angle. Now again, I don't see side, 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 or side, angle, side, so that does give me side, side, angle, which unfortunately is not a congruence property, so it is not congruent. Okay, on this triangle, I have a side marked, and I have an angle marked. I have a side marked and I have an angle marked, but I need 3, so I'm going to mark that side that they share, and they share it because it's reflexive. It's equal to itself, so that gives me side, angle, side. On this triangle here, I have sides marked double marks here, side marked double marks here, and then single marks here. Again, I only have 2 congruence properties for sure, but I need 3 to prove them congruent. So one of the other things that we've learned earlier in the year is vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. Well, that now gives me side, angle, side. So those are congruent. Here I have isosceles triangle here. These two are marked the same, and I have an isosceles triangle here. But again, I've only got 2 congruent statements. I need 3 to prove the triangles are congruent. So I do see that I have a pair of vertical angles, and now that makes it congruent by side, angle, side. Okay, I have angles marked congruent, and I have a side marked congruent. Again, I only have 2 congruent statements. I need 3 to be congruent. So I'm going to mark that reflexive side. So that side's equal to the same side in the other triangle. It's reflexive. However, that gives me side, side, angle. And unfortunately, that is not a congruent statement. So these triangles are not congruent. Okay, we have some extra practice here. I'm going to see if I can get my board working. Okay, so now we have more properties, and I see I have a single mark, double mark, double mark. So that's only 2. I need 3. So actually I have this third side here, which is reflexive, and that gives me side, side, side. So those are congruent. So now I'm going to come over here, and let's see, I have the angles and I have the sides here. Let's see, I don't have any reflexive sides and I don't see any vertical angles. So these are not congruent. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I have side, side, another side, another side, and an angle. Okay, even though these overlap, these small pieces don't become a part of the triangle, so I can't use it for reflexive. So let's see, I have side, side, angle, side, side, angle, and unfortunately, side, side, angle is not one of our congruent statements. Okay, third one, I've got angle to angle, angle 2 to angle 2, angle 3 to angle 3. So I have angle, angle, angle. But unfortunately, that is not one of our congruent statements. Okay, more practice that we have. Let's see, I have an angle. Here's the corresponding angle. Here's the side. Here's the corresponding side. I need a third set. I either need another angle or another side. And what I see is I have vertical angles here and here. And that would give me angle, side, angle. So these are congruent by angle, side, angle. These triangles over here, let's see, I have side and the corresponding side and an angle, and I see that they share this side. So I can mark that as congruent using the reflexive property, and that gives me side, side, angle, side, side, angle. So unfortunately, side, side, angle is not one of our congruent statements, so these are not congruent. These triangles here, I have side, angle, side, and I started with the 2 markings, side, angle, side, so yes, they are congruent by side, angle, side. Okay, let's practice. Indicate the additional information that we need to enable us to apply the specified congruence postulate. So if I wanted to prove these triangles were congruent by angle, side, angle, well, here's my angle. Remember, for side has to be between the 2 angles. That would mean I would need this angle B and its corresponding angle D. So I would need angle B congruent to angle D in order to prove these triangles were congruent by angle, side, angle. For side, angle, side, well, I have a side. The angle has to be between my 2 sides, so the other side would have to be AC and FE. Okay, so in order to prove these congruent by side, angle, side, here would be my side, here would be my angle, my other side would have to be AC. For angle, angle, side, now this time the side cannot be in between the 2 angles. Okay, so B would make it between the 2 angles, so I only have one other angle choice left, and that's A. So it would have to be angle A and its corresponding angle F in order to prove these triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. Okay, our next ones, let's see, if I want angle, side, angle again, here's my angle, here's my side. That means my other angle would have to appear at, N. So on this one, I would have to have angle N congruent to angle, side, angle. That would correspond to angle V. For side, angle, side, here's my side, here's my angle, so that other side has to be, the angle has to be between the 2 sides, so that would be MK, would have to be congruent to TU. And for angle, angle, side, my side cannot be between my 2 angles, so that leaves N out, so it would have to be angle M is congruent to angle U. And we are done. Thank you for watching.